I mean, there was after obviously Trump being re-elected, which is absolutely incredible. I think he's an amazing, amazing president, and I've had the privilege of meeting him. And he said this, when with everything going on right now, changes coming, good changes, he's holding people accountable, a lot of countries accountable for everything, and it's amazing to see. And obviously, being a champion, he said he wants champions in his team. So that's why, and he said it on X. Big shout out to fellow South African Elon Musk for also doing the right thing. And like I said, Trump prefers champions.
When you look back at that first fight with Strickland, close fight, right? You felt you won, he felt he won, the way it goes?
No, the judges thought I won.
Right. But do you look back at that fight and think, well, I won it, so I just need to do the same thing again? Or you look back at it and go, I can improve on that performance and I know how to?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's exactly what you said. I did the right things to win that fight. He is going to make adjustments to be better. And I have to do the same thing. It's not that I have to do anything different. I just have to do whatever I've been doing better. I've had a year now to improve upon that performance, cleaner, to be fitter, stronger. In terms of strength, that's not a problem. Just being cleaner, picking the shots better, being more patient. This is not my first UFC title fight anymore. And I know I can push that pace for 5 rounds. So that changes my dynamic, but I'm not going into this fight thinking it's the same fight as the first one. He's going to make the adjustments. He knows what it's like in there with me, just like I know what he's doing and how, his team is incredible. He has an incredibly good coach. Coach Eric is very well respected, and I have the world's respect for him, and I know he's a master at the game plan and figuring it out, but so is my coaches and my team. So, yeah, very similar in fight because we both now know and how much could have really changed. It's just about being cleaner and better at everything.
He has this reputation as an awkward sort of striker, with his shoulder rolls and his teeps. Do you think, in a way, fighting him twice gives you a bit of an advantage almost because you've sort of had those 5 rounds with him to sort of get used to that style?
Yeah, I think it can, but it can also, bite you in the ass. If you think you're fighting a certain style and you're fighting a certain guy and all of a sudden he comes out completely different, that can throw you off too. That's what I said. To think of the second fight the same as the first fight would be the same level as underestimating Sean Strickland, which I'm not doing. I'm expecting the best fighter in the world to show up, just like I've expected the best fighter in the world to show up every single time. Like we saw with Adesanya, when he showed up, I knew I was there to fight the best Adesanya, and everybody said it. He said it. Everybody said he looked incredible. And I went out there to beat the best Adesanya, just like I'm out there to beat the best Strickland that we've ever seen. And his fight style doesn't have any effect on how I fight. I'm going out there to do what I do and do it as the world champion, the best in the world. And he's going to be the best Strickland in the world, and we're going to see whose best is the best.
Speaking about what you do, I feel like every time you fight, there's a commentary on your style. Izzy and Rob recently called it ugly. Dana White says you fight like a white man dances. Do you think your fighting style is ugly?
It's effective. That's what I think.
And then one last one from me. Did the movie Never Back Down inspire you to take up MMA?
Yes, that is 100% true.
Which character do you relate to most in that movie?
The one that gets the hot girl in the end.
I feel like you're kind of the villain, brother. You're like...
I'll take that too. He had the hot girl before that.
Dricus in the front right here. When Islam was preparing for his rematch against Arman, he said it was all business between them, but he kind of viewed that as it annoyed him when people said the first fight was close and tough when he thought he clearly won, and he wanted to use that rematch as a way to erase all questions. Are you viewing this the same way with Sean on Sunday morning?
Yes and no. Yes, because, in my career, I only have 2 decisions. Both decisions I'm completely happy with because I could prove to myself. It was my first time going past the 3rd round, and I've had many 5-round fights before that. But going to that 5th round in a war like that proved to myself that I can do it. It's easy to say it and it's easy to do it in a fight camp, doing it in training, but doing it in the octagon is a bit different against a world-class fighter. So I can tick that off the box. Now I want to go in there. For me, that fight, the split decision was the biggest shock to me. I don't think it was a split decision. It was the biggest shock of that whole thing. But it was a great fight. It was a war. You know, if you play the odds like Strickland and having 8 split decisions in your career, you know, a split decision is what you call a coin flip. If you flip that coin 8 times, you're bound to get unlucky a couple of times. You know, he got lucky with the split decision, otherwise we wouldn't be here now. I am very happy that they made this fight. I was asking for this fight up until the Hamzat thing happened, then I would have preferred that fight, but I'm really happy this fight's happening because now I can go and say, we're going to settle this. We're going to put this to bed because, you know, all the Strickland fans that believe he won that fight, I can just go out and you know, put this behind me. Not that it was ever in front of me as a, I have to get that. You know, maybe I did. No, I didn't get lucky. I wasn't gifted about, I fought for 5 rounds forward. 23 minutes forward in a 25-minute fight warrants a win. That's the guy who's trying to fight, not the guy who's trying to point. So for me right now, I think Strickland is the best middleweight in the world right now, behind myself. And he deserves to be here. I know he's an incredible, incredible fighter. He's so good defensively. He's tough. He's hard to hit. And when you hit him, it doesn't have that effect as, you know, on normal guys. This man is an apex predator. So this is the toughest fight of my life coming up. And I'm ready for that because I'm an apex predator and he's in my area right now. We're going to go to that dark place from the word get-go and we'll see who comes out. And I can't wait for that because even if this goes to a decision again, it will be an all-out war and there will be no doubt that I'm the best in the world.
It's kind of going off of what you said in that, you know, Sean, it's difficult to fight and everything. You know, a lot of people were confused by Paulo Costa's approach to that fight against Sean Strickland. They were surprised at how he wasn't the usual Paulo Costa trying to blitz forward. Do you think that was just more fans are overlooking, like Sean made him do that? Like that was Sean's approach and he's the reason Paulo was kind of out of sorts?
Yeah, absolutely, because you could see that. I mean, Sean, he's a bully fighter. I said it before, he's a bully fighter and, you know, he's been a bully on the mic, but the bully fighter is not a bad thing. What he does is he walks forward and he imposes his game on his opponents. And because the shots aren't that powerful, because it seems unassuming, you just wait and you take a teep and you take a jab and you take a jab and you take a teep and you go backwards and you're waiting for then you miss and you miss. And you're going backwards looking for your opening. Before you know it, you've been going backwards for 2 rounds and you're behind on points. Now you have to make it happen. And he kind of forces you. And then the momentum is so far for him that he has it. And then when he fights that way, you're not pushing a pace if you're going backwards. So he's fighting at his pace. He can jab, he can kick, he can jab, he can throw the whole day. He can throw quantity because it's not that hard. That is why he has been so successful in everything he does. That's why he could beat Adesanya the way he did. And that's why he beat Paulo Costa the way he did. Because guys realized too late in the fight, listen, this guy is ahead on points right now. And then they have to do something desperate and then it's too late. So yeah, that is definitely not, the guy is not fighting good. It's all credit to Strickland for doing what he does and imposing his game plan.
And in Perth, I remember after you beat Israel, you walked by Media Row and you looked at all of us and you said, everyone that picked against me, haha, you look like dumbasses now.
That is factual.
I'm just curious, like, do you pay attention to that? Like the people that do pick against you or have criticisms of you, or is it just like out of sight, out of mind?
No, I don't pay attention to that. I just don't miss anything. I see it. I know it. But it doesn't make any difference to me. It's just fun to make fun of people that picked the wrong side.
And then just last one for me. Obviously, you strike me as someone that, you know, you don't need validation or anything like that from other people. But I'm curious if you heard Kamaru Usman's like recent comments where he said it's no longer the 3 kings, it's the 4 horsemen, because he includes you into the African champions of the UFC. What do you make of those comments? Like, are you happy to hear that? Does it matter? Does something like that matter to you? That, you know, a guy that was very pro-Israel Israel Adesanya and saying, it was you versus the three kings, and now he's including you in that group of champions.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a massive honor and privilege to be a part of that group. And if you look at guys like Kamaru, Francis, and Israel, absolute greats in the sport, and now Dricus Du Plessis era, and being part of that group is a massive honor. A massive honor because it's a small portion of very special people, between a small percentage of champions. Fighting in the UFC makes you one in millions. Being a champion makes you even more. And being part of that group is something that doesn't mean anything to anybody else, but to me, as an African-born fighter, African-raised, African-residing champion, just like for them, it means the absolute world to be a part of that group.
Because just a quick one, I saw Sean was talking about a headbutt in the first fight and how it impacted the fight. What was your reaction when you saw him sort of saying that was one of the key things that sort of turned things around?
Well, my reaction was it only felt like a headbutt. My right hand is really, really hard. But it wasn't a headbutt. It wasn't a headbutt. There's evidence all over. You can see the video footage. Everything is there where the eye is already bleeding before where he shows the headbutt. It was a right hand. I remember it in the fight, seeing it. I remember in the fight I was throwing the right hand and I could see the blood coming from his eye the first time. And I caught him on that exact same eye many times. You can watch that fight back. How many times I caught him on that exact eye. And the blood started pouring. Late in the fight, don't you wrestle with your head? The head was there. I saw what he showed, but he was already bleeding then. And that was definitely no headbutt. There was rubbing. Our heads were rubbing against each other as you would when you wrestle. That's why we have cauliflower ears.
Both you guys have a lot of respect for each other after the first fight, but you did mention it. He can be a bully in the octagon. He can sometimes be a bully on the mic. What are you expecting from this press conference tomorrow? Now that you guys have shared the ring together for 5 rounds, do you imagine it might actually be more respectful than what people might be thinking?
I think there's so much mutual respect between me and Strickland. Well, at least from my side, I have all the respect in the world for the man. He's an absolute warrior. He's an incredible, incredible fighter. I think he's proven that. In the beginning, when he beat Israel Adesanya, he got his title shot by fluke. He was the number 7 ranked guy. There was nobody else. He stepped up. He was never supposed to be there, and he proved that he belonged there. And after I fought him, I went, wow, he's a lot better than I thought. He is as good as the papers say. He's deserving of this title shot. I can't believe he hasn't had it earlier. He is an incredibly good fighter. And I just know I'm better. So the respect is there. And especially after sharing such a war with somebody, the respect is there, especially from my side. I know what it takes to get in there and to go what I went through and what he went through. And now we are competing and there is respect, but there's not a person in front of me. It's something in my way. And like I said, he can be the nicest guy. I don't care if it's more respect, less respect. He can be the biggest asshole to me. He can be the nicest guy. It makes no difference on what happens fight night. But in the lead up, I would assume it's going to be a bit more humane this time around. But if not, I'm ready for anything.
Last question from me. We saw in Embedded you're quite talented musically. Are we getting the guitar out at the open workouts, doing an unplugged Dricus Du Plessis acoustic performance for Sydney today?
Absolutely not.
Thank you.
Dricus, people talk in MMA about fighter IQ a lot, but the regular IQ you showed with your proposal tactic, having your fiancée organise the party for you, is genius. But from the moment you knew you wanted to marry her, did you start coming up in your mind how you wanted to propose and what was the ideal way you wanted to do it?
Well, it's not about me that moment. It's about the fiancé, I would assume. I think that is how it should be. And she never said how she wants it. I just knew she would like her family there. I knew I would like my family there. And some of our close friends, ever since, like, it can't just be her family. And I knew that was something she would want. And when I started thinking about it, her family was away, my family was away because it was the holidays when I wanted to do it. And I said, wait, on my birthday, she wouldn't expect anything, and she's going to arrange everything. And wouldn't it be weird to have all our family, the whole family, my family and her family there, also having our friends there? It's not going to be weird. And the photographer, everything ready. It's not going to be suspect at all. And if she doesn't like anything, she arranged it. It's not on me. And the plan worked out great. It was great. I was more nervous for that than I thought, whatever, I'm just going to do it. I didn't think about it. Thought on the night, just going to go with it. I'm going to say this and this. Didn't say anything. I was mumbling some random shit. I don't know what I was saying. And then the ring box got stuck in my pocket. I should have taken it out, thinking about it, because I have big hands and my hand got stuck in the pocket. Well, she said yes at the end. Well, when I was so nervous when we got up and I put the ring on, I asked her, did you say yes? I didn't even see if she said yes. But I'm glad she said yes.
And I guess the bonus is it's a date that's easy to remember now as well.
Easy money. Easy.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Dricus back here. In Sydney in Perth before your fight with Israel, I asked you about I felt a lack of respect you got as a champion, and you said you don't fight to appease people on the internet. And while I know that hasn't changed, do you feel you get more respect coming off your last victory?
I always feel the respect. I don't even pay attention to the disrespect. I don't. I can tell you this. I read it. I laugh. Sometimes I have an off hour and I go on X and reply some random people. I don't even know if they are somebody, and just read it. Go, oh, great. I can dish out some banter. Other fighters, if I have time, if I have an extra hour sitting on the couch, and I go, cool, let's banter, and then I'm not paying attention again for like a week or two, and when I have an off hour, I'll go on and have that. That's how I approach any disrespect. I mean, it's the disrespect. I don't even. It's like water off a duck's back. For me, the respect is the respect I see, the appreciation I see, and the love and support I see, and that's my fuel. I don't get the disrespect doesn't fuel me more or less. I don't care. The respect and the love I get from people, and the people that believe in me and want me to succeed, that motivates me to go out there and prove them right.
Apologies for stepping on your answer there. You started this press conference by saying this is not your first title fight. It's something that's now beginning to be more familiar to you. What are the biggest changes that you've felt when you look at the man who challenged for the title to the champion who sits in front of us today? How are you different?
The biggest difference for me in mentality is when I show up to that gym every day. I need to be the example of a world champion. There's guys looking up to me every single day, guys chasing the same dream as I had when I was in that same spot. I'm training on the same mats with the same people, same coaches, in the same building. Yeah, I rock up in a nicer car, for sure. But I am motivating every single person there, because I was once the same as that just a couple of years ago. I was a year and a half ago. I was the same guy chasing the dream they are chasing. And I need to be the example that this is what it takes. You can have this, no matter where you're from, no matter how hard it seems, how far it seems. One opportunity, and you got it. And I need to get in there every day and prove out of the octagon and out of the gym and inside the gym what it takes to be a world champion. That's the biggest change, is the responsibility that came with being a champion, and inspiring, because right now I'm at the top of this sport. So everybody looking at me in that gym, my training partners, to show them, you can also have this, but you better know this is what it's going to take. Be there first. Train the hardest during the session and do everything. It's the small things that add up. At the top, everybody is so good. Anything can happen at any time. But how much time do you spend on your warm-up, your cool-down, your nutrition. When are you there? When you can't train, when you're taking are you still there? It's such small things. How much time do you spend on recovery? All those things adds up to what makes a world champion. How do you approach media? How do you approach your public image? And also showing them that you can still be a human. You can still be the normal person you have to be. You can't just go, okay, I'm world champion right now. Now I have to behave in a certain way and be all. No, I'm a human. I make mistakes and I just live my life. There's just more people filming it right now. And yeah, mistakes I'll make. That's part of life. I'm never going to be sorry for that. I will say sorry for the mistake, but don't tell me you don't make those mistakes, or everybody makes mistakes. It's part of it. So live your life and remember, the most important things were there before you became world champion. The most important things in my life, my team, my family, my friends, my circle, that were there before all of this. That is what's important. Never think the fans, the spotlight, or any of that is more important. So if I'm saying that, the good stuff media says, the good stuff everybody says, it's not more important than what your family and your friends think of you. And the bad things they say is definitely not more important than what your family and friends think of you. And once you have that, you'll always be happy and you'll always be in a good space. I can have everything in the world. Without them, without the people that make my life worthwhile, nothing else matters.
Very much.
How you going, Dricus? Good to see you again, mate. Congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you.
I recently listened to your podcast with Mighty Mouse. It was awesome. What really interested me was your take on wanting to, stamp your legacy in the middleweight division, not move weight classes, at least not in the near future. Could you go into a bit of that now? Like, there's so much talk about other champions wanting to move, Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev. Why do you have a different take, those champions?
Yeah, I think, when the time is right, the time is right. I think if there's nothing left, the move is there. I 100% agree with that. If Robert Whittaker would have beaten Hamzat, would have changed my opinion. If, not that I said I wouldn't have taken that fight, but then we have a case. If you start doing a rematch now and then another rematch, that's when it becomes dodgy in terms of, do I still need to be in this weight division? But if you look at the middleweights now, I said at least 3 times defending my title before going up. This is my second one. But look what happened with Imamov just now. How the middleweight picture changed in the last year. The whole top, from the rankings from 1 to 5 completely changed. Izzy and Rob being at the top for how many years has gone to 4 and 5. You have Imamov at 2, Strickland at 1, Hamzat somewhere, and you have Kyle Bahal coming up. You have these guys coming through the ranks, a complete new era of fighters, and I'm part of that era. And it's amazing for me to lead that era and in the middleweight division. And before I want to move up, I want it to be clear that I am the greatest middleweight on this planet.
Very interesting. You were mentioning a lot of those top-ranked middleweights. You have Sean Strickland training with Kai Bahio, Rob Whittaker training with Israel. You say you want to train with either Rob or Israel or both of them. Do you find it interesting that so many in the top 10 of that division are training with each other, even though they're meant to be competitors?
Yeah, I guess I'm not training with anybody in the top 10. Lucky for me. I just think with Rob and Izzy, it's a different dynamic. Right now, they know trajectory-wise, they'll never fight each other again. And yeah, Rob can, at his age, can make another run for it. I think he has another run left in him, 100%. And for Izzy, I don't think there's another title run. With all due respect, I think his legacy is cemented and will always be there. And whatever he feels like doing, he can do. I put him in the same category as Anderson Silva at this stage of lose as many fights as you want. You'll always have your legacy. Anderson Silva, when his reign ended, I don't care how many times he lost, he was still my GOAT. He was still the greatest middleweight of all time. And I feel Izzy is in that area where whatever he decides to do, take super fights here, there. If you want to, if you still have the passion for it, if you've lost the passion, you have the money, you have everything, don't do it anymore. You don't have to take any more trauma. You don't have to put yourself through that. But if you want to do it, go for it. Nothing he can do can tarnish that legacy that he's already built. So that's a different scenario. I think Kyle and especially at Extreme Couture, there's a lot of guys coming in and out because it's in Vegas. A lot of guys joining the PI. I guess that's a mutual agreement they have. Okay, cool. We train together now, but if the fight comes, we're doing it, and I can respect that.
And one last one from me. After the UFC, you've become a world champion, of course. Is your intention to become a champion in oval racing as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Just one quickie, Dricus. Last time in Perth, you had quite a good support base with the Springboks playing the night before. I'm just wondering what you're expecting this time in Sydney.
Well, maybe also support. I mean, everybody was angry because the Springboks is giving the Wallabies such a hiding. So I guess that's why they were booing me so much. But so this time that's not happening. So I guess maybe I'll get some more love. Now, all jokes. But yeah, I think there's also quite a South African community here in Sydney, but not like in Perth. But yeah, I guess so. I think with the familiarity of it, Strickland has fought here, so he has a lot of fans all over, and I've fought here in August, so it's a familiar face. So maybe I have more fans, maybe more boos. At the end of the day, there'll be more noise, and I love it.
Is this sort of becoming like a second home for you, Australia? Second fight in a row?
Well, after the traffic I just experienced, no. I'm not living here. But Sydney is incredible. It's a very, very different place to Perth. Perth was amazing too. The crowd, though, is going to have to step it up in Sydney because that Perth crowd was the craziest crowd I've ever fought in front of it. It was just the sound in that place was the atmosphere in there was insane. So yeah, Sydney's going to need to step it up on that, but the place is incredible. Definitely a destination where I would spend more time, 100%.
If you don't mind, Dricus, can I just get one in right at the end here, mate? Mate, is there something about Australia that you've found since you've been here that is completely unique to Australia that you just never would have seen back home or anywhere else?
Okay, I can't say that. My mom would beat me if I said that. Yeah, like mullets and mustaches has really made a comeback here. And I love it. I think it looks amazing. It's going to take me a while to grow a mullet. I did the mustache last time. So, yeah, that is very unique in Australia. Like, everybody has it. It's great. I like it. And, geez, the traffic laws are insane. It's the slowest driving I've ever seen in my life. That's very unique. It's really... The car scene is incredible, but I'm just wondering, what do you do with such a fast car? Where do you take it? What do you do? Because, I mean, I'll just get the slowest car I can. Otherwise, I'll just have speed fines all the time. So that was very unique. And I have to say this, in terms of the culinary experience, it's the food that's the closest to South Africa, especially like Sydney and Cape Town is basically one in the same place. It's Cape Town is incredible, and Sydney, it's also waterfront. The food scene in Australia, the food here, the quality of food, quality of meat, especially steaks and your red meat, it's very similar to South Africa. My good friend Jackson, he actually told me that, and when he came to South Africa, I said South Africa has the best food. He went to South Africa and he said, okay, I see what you mean, but Australia also has a great food scene. And when I came to Australia, I have to agree. Like, Australia is the one place on earth that competes with South Africa when it comes to good food.
Thanks, mate.
That's it. Thank you, guys.